Good morning and welcome to Spawn Camp. This week we have special guest appearances from Just Brett, who we have a beautiful face for, and Bright Swords, who we have a beautiful fairy for. Wait, no, sorry, I just described Brett twice.
Maybe.
How you guys doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. This was unexpected, but I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
It is my intention to kidnap everybody on R4R for at least 7 episodes.
Bet.
Yeah.
It's a good run.
The hard one's going to be Darkness.
Darkness.
I might have to physically kidnap Darkness for that one.
I think she would quite enjoy that.
I did actually. I looked up some actual notes on what the whole thing that I'm going to be talking about with one of our topics. So I actually have an article. So that's good to know.
Awesome. Yeah, Brett came prepared. I have 2 things I wanted to talk about. We can't have a current events anything without talking about the absolute biggest news happening today, which is that TikTok is gone. So we'll discuss that a little bit. And then Epic the Musical just wrapped. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And what was your thing?
Similarly to Epic the Musical, talking about one of the more modern and popular translators of things like the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Awesome.
Have you, Brett?
I was practicing. For those that don't know, I have this accidental, and because I play so much Dungeons and Dragons, I keep calling the Iliad the Illithid. Like a
the
mind flayer.
Flayer.
I'm gonna be honest, that has almost inspired me to make a story called The Illithid, which is a satire of the Odyssey, but it's a mind flayer trying to get back to their hive mind. I'm slowly losing.
I mean, I will say, a mind flayer being in the Trojan War would definitely change that story. Which side would it fight on? Would it be Trojan or would it be Greek?
Maybe.
So,
I mean,
the
if an
Trojan War is
Olympic took
because-
over Achilles, I mean, is what caused him to do all of that instead of him just being gay for Patroclus.
it's a very gross oversimplification, I think.
No shit. But let's go to our first topic.
Yes, we can go over to the gayness of Achilles during our next one, I guess.
Beautiful. So, yeah, as of today, TikTok is no longer available inside the US without a VPN.
Not just a VPN. You need to have your phone number and
Your SIM card.
Oh,
it cannot be American.
Yeah.
well,
Unless you'd be able to get it to work with just a VPN, but that's
well, I was going to point out because if you're on a Wi-Fi network with a VPN, it might be different, but also on desktop, which we can test that real quick. I think I've got a VPN.
I do have one, but I'm currently looking up.
Also, I'm
differences.
not set up to share Brett's screen, so.
valid.
No, wait. Nope. History tabs. Where the fuck is this button?
Never tell.
Wouldn't you like to know what I have?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Wow, guys, I'm so prepared.
Obviously.
It's not like we started this like 5 minutes ago.
Uh,
We're perfect or something.
Well, I mean, usually,
How long have
yeah.
we been doing this?
Crazy.
Here it
That's
is.
how it goes.
I found it. I understand.
Yay.
Now, for some reason,
Enabled.
It's not on Twitch. Oh, is it now? It is now.
What is that on Twitch?
Us.
Oh.
For some reason, my Twitch was absolutely freaking out.
Mm.
Okay, now let me...
When you have a second, Rev,
Yeah.
Valve's just kind of floating. You might want to like lower them down just a little bit because they're not like on the base, so it looks like they were
Well-
cut off on the midsection.
Well, I'm a fairy.
Also, I put them right by the logo.
I thought you didn't mean you were gonna put them on the logo, like literally on the logo.
Yeah, but then I'd cover up the logo, and now you can still see it through their wings.
I see.
Yeah.
I am roll for respawn. Always.
It looks like I actually can't control where I VPN through.
That's
so-
What do you have your VPN service not sponsored?
Well, I have the free VPN that comes bundled with Opera GX.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, definitely not. I thought you had like Nord or like Shark or something like that.
Oh, wait. I found it! Let's go through here. Thank you.
I'm gonna try to go through NordVPN, and I'm gonna go pick Ireland because why not?
I'm cutting straight to a screen share, so you can watch it load in live. All right. So far, oh, here we go. This appears to be functioning TikTok.
being the first TikTok is so
My
applicable.
VPN is also letting me watch TikToks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So yeah, if you want to do workarounds or are okay with the desktop experience, it looks like you still can VPN to access TikTok. Now, there is a warning that needs to go out anytime someone is using a VPN to like get around certain legal things, which is to always check the laws of your jurisdiction. However, the legal side of the TikTok ban has nothing to do with us as end users. You are totally fine to VPN to another country and use it. The only thing you're upsetting there is terms of service with TikTok, but it is what it is right now. The TikTok ban doesn't directly affect us. It affects the company of TikTok, and the company of TikTok, as a response, has shut down services within the U.S.
I will say, using a VPN, it's not opening up. This is my page. It's not showing any of my videos. And it's also, I have a little icon of my face in a cloak.
Yeah.
That's an artwork, and it's just.
Is your For You page working? Is your For You page working?
I have my For You, and I try to swipe up. Nope. If I go to my shop, kind of.
So it's doing that TikTok thing where like it's really slow and like buffering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No internet connection.
Okay.
Tap to try. So.
So yeah, this has been a wild whole thing. I have just received word from my scheduled co-host.
What they say.
Are they wide awake now?
They may be awake.
Yeah, I remember like 10 minutes beforehand, I was like, Raven,
Yep.
help!
And Brett popped in and was keeping me company while I set things up, and then I was like, "Hey, Brett, you want to stick around?" Early morning shows can be hard. Anyway, so yeah, TikTok ban. How's that affecting you guys? Because we've had a lot of conversations in our household, and there's definitely mixed feelings.
Yeah. Like for me personally, I kind of use TikTok as like a doom scrolling thing, but also I use it as an informative as well. Because that's where I got a lot of my news on like things happening internationally and what has been going on and like because like I don't read the news, I don't watch the news, we don't even have a television.
Yeah.
Like I have the internet, and that's kind of it, and social media, and that's kind of what I do a lot of my stuff on. And like seeing that, and especially that second paragraph. Actually, do we want to pull up like what the TikTok notification was? Because I remember it saying like there is hope that President Trump will get this turned around, and everyone's like, no, I don't want that. If I go on like Instagram, it's like all over my Instagram.
Yeah, let me.
Which is very silly to say, considering how long the platform has been TikTok.
So real quick, not to cut you off, so we will come right back to you. But I do have on screen right now the notification that if you try and load up TikTok today from your phone without doing any of the extra steps, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. So, people in the know and who have been following this expect that this outage should only be about 36 hours. You were saying.
But when they threatened to ban it back in like 2022 or whatever it was, I was like, well, I'm kind of done anyway, so there's no reason to stick around, because if they're threatening to take away our freedoms when expressing ourselves in a platform that keeps us informed, like Mal said, That's the reason why they wanted it to get away with. This isn't conspiracy. They were giving out information that people had to search for beforehand, so people were just being ignorant.
Yeah.
And now there's a media forum where people can understand, because it's in a fast-paced world. Because the news is awful. It doesn't. I'm not trying to get political, like
Right.
you watch it from Fox or whatever. It's just awful. It's dry, and there's no way of comprehending it unless you want to sit there and not only watch the articles, but then go find information on your own.
Mhm.
TikTok has a variety of different ways of showing your not only expression, but like Mal said, news and different ways of experiencing the world without having to get a degree in anthropology or traveling the world.
Yeah. Well, and it has done so much for so many creators and businesses from all walks of life. Hell, we wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for TikTok.
No.
Yeah,
Not at all.
that's true. Because, I mean, another thing, I saw someone point this out, and I was like, holy shit, that's, like, so true, like, obviously, where it was that there are so many small businesses that have boomed because of TikTok and the exposure that you get from it. And they made the comparison because I think they said it was, like, about, like, between 3.5 and 7 million small business, like, that's how much it that people have gone into the economy. Sorry, my words are blurred. But like that, but that's how much like it has brought into the economy is like billions of dollars. And they made the comparison of imagine if like, and to put in comparison, there are about 7.5 million teachers in the United States today. So imagine if 7 million teachers just up and fucking disappeared.
Good morning, Blood. Welcome to chat.
Words are hard. Yes, thank you. Thank you for
But
understanding.
yeah, that like, and
But like when you put that in that perspective, I mean, if all of our teachers were just gone, there would be a full-on crisis.
well, let's think about this. Like, how many Amazon workers are there? If 7.5 million just left, we'd lose a.
Like I
huge
would say that
part-
teachers are a little more important
That's
than Amazon
true.
workers.
But
All jobs are
unlike
important.
Teachers, yeah, all jobs are equal and they have their importance. But unlike teachers, TikTok is something that is just like, oh, I just have Amazon on my phone,
Yeah.
and I can use it without thinking. Well, and that's the same thing with TikTok. When you doom scrolling through TikTok, you see all
Well,
different kinds of places, all different
even
sorts.
going outside of the business side of it, kind of going back to what you guys were both talking about at the beginning there, of the connectivity and the social media aspects and the global news and all of that, everything wrapped into that. 170 million American users. There's only about 300 million Americans, which means over half of the country was using this app daily.
Yeah.
That right there should already tell you that the country is in favor of keeping it. So it is wild that they would have gone through the steps that they did. But yeah, it has been
Very
hard.
backdoorsy. It was very cloak and dagger.
Well, the bill that did it had essentially 3 sentences about banning TikTok, and it was in the middle of a must-pass military aid bill to both aid Ukraine, yay, help Ukraine, and Israel, because our government was still trying to do that at the time. Luckily, there's now the ceasefire in Gaza, so hopefully that lasts.
The ceasefire already still is not passed because they said that they did when Netanyahu actually this is some of the last news I got about Gaza from TikTok. Fun fact was that Netanyahu said, well, they're not accepting the deal, and Hamas was like, no, we actively want to finish this. They are the ones that are stopping it, which is unsurprising because right before they claimed
as
that
of As of an hour ago, the first 3 hostages have been released.
Thank God. That's good. That's good.
Stepping back to TikTok though, so we're not. This isn't become a war chat.
Let's hold on. Let's hold on. Let's be so for real here. The TikTok ban is inherently political, no matter how you spin it, because it is the government that has decided to ban it.
No,
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
if it trying to take politics out of it is and also
I
to
said war talk.
also follow.
I said war talk, not politics.
Well, the thing is though is that the TikTok ban was put out by a push from the government in regards to war. Like, it was in the middle of a war, like aiding and support bill.
They're the ones that made the connection. We're just now commenting on that connection. But yeah, in relation to what you were talking about with it being a really shady, quick thing, members of Congress have already gone on the record saying they were not happy with how it went through. A member of Congress did try and put a bill through to at least extend the deadline. So, like, there are also people in the right places that are at least seemingly trying to do the right thing right now. We'll see where that goes. And on the note of stopping or undoing the ban, we have word from Trump himself, from Trump's campaign, and now as an official statement from TikTok, all referring to the fact that Trump has said that he would do something to step back this ban. However, last time around, Trump also said that he would fight to protect queer rights. So, I mean, obviously, he's not the most faithful to his words.
There's also something to be said about him now stepping in and completing his savior complex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're not here to discuss our feelings about the to-be and former president. But read his books. If you want to really know what kind of person he is, go read 3 or 4 of his dozen or so books.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, he hasn't written any of them. He doesn't know how to read.
Yeah,
I don't either.
See, but at least you're coherent.
What?
All right. Well, that has been a particularly heavy 23 minutes for our show. And
I do agree, Blood.
Yeah, so Blood has commented in chat that Trump is also the one who started the whole mess with TikTok. And yeah, a lot of the distrust within the country about TikTok did originate in the 2016 election with statements, the 2016 election for the 2020 presidency, with statements made by Donald Trump about the app. That's back when the right-wing aspect of our government was trying to push things like the app was full of child porn, and how these senators got on the app for an hour and their feed was nothing but dancing half-naked children, which was a really great way for them to call themselves out.
Yep, considering brick by brick, I've never received anything like that on my TikTok page.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is the TikTok algorithm is amazing for pegging people for things.
Sorry.
Skylar was, having seen stuff on my feed, making comments about, you know, if you ever want to, like, consider transition or talking about your gender or anything like that, it's okay. Now here I am 2 years later on HRT. So yeah, for these senators to be like self-calling out like that was amazing.
Yeah. And also, it's Singapore. Not China.
Yeah.
Look on a globe.
Like,
Or use Google
I'm
Maps.
not Chinese. I'm from Singapore. Like,
They're
that whole
both.
trial was just a fucking mess from beginning to end.
Oh yeah.
But, stepping away from these 25 minutes of TikTok,
Yes.
do we want to
Yeah,
go
the
into...
doom scrolling.
Yeah, the doom scrolling, the 25 minutes of doom scrolling. Knowing us, so it's like 7 hours of doom scrolling. Anyway,
Well,
switch over to my topic or your second topic?
Well, let's do something lighthearted as a break. So let's cut to Sports with Tony.
Sports with Tony?
Yeah. Tony, what do you have for us today?
Welcome, sports fans. It's time for your favorite part of the show, Sports with Tony. Today's sport, you're not going to believe it. You are not going to believe it. It is a longtime enemy of mine. It is a longtime enemy of mine, and it should be an enemy of yours. It's a classic, they say. It elevates gaming. It was one of the building blocks that modern gaming is built off of.
I'll send it to both of you real quick.
It's a goddamn lie. Monopoly is by far
It's
the worst game out
it's
there.
not like a document.
It is the worst game
Or it's just a,
that exists. And I say that coming with hatred in my heart for games like Risk. I have trauma with that game, and I still think Monopoly is worse. I need you to understand that Monopoly is bad not just because the mechanics are dumb, and they kind of are. You get money for nothing, but of course this is a game about avoiding being poor. It's a game about that teaches you that poor people get free things, that sometimes you just luck into money when you don't. And in ways, it talks about how the community will take care of you. And I find that many of us have found that not to be true. And that's a sobering aspect of it. I know that with Sports with Tony, many of you maybe wanted me to talk about how, how goofy the game is or how dumb some of the mechanics are or things like that. But in reality, Monopoly is a problem for us. And they have kept it on your shelves by doing dumb little things of themed monopolies, right? I had Star Wars Monopoly growing up, and I loved Star Wars, and I loved all the cool tokens and things like that. I have seen so many monopolies. Every place I go that's a tourist destination has their own touristopoly. Ooh, touristopoly. Here's the one ice cream shop at the boardwalk that hasn't gone out of business for the last 10 years. Cool. We love that. Yeah. Opoly. But what Monopoly teaches you is about harshness. It is about how sometimes, no matter how good the decisions you make are, sometimes you're just going to get screwed. And yeah, that's great, but that's not a game. That's, at best, educational, if accurate. The problem is the rest of the game is inaccurate. The rest of the game is inconsistent messaging at best. It quickly jumps between trying to teach you about different economic systems, right? It really is a capitalism style game, right? You're trying to get the most money and starve everyone else in the game. You want everyone else in the game to not be able to feed their families. That's the end game. That's it. You want to choke the life out of them. That's wild as a game. And I get that, like I said, games like Risk are about war and death. And I fully understand that. But there is much more abstraction in moving some of the pieces around and things like that than there is in the slow fading of hope that you see in your 5-year-old cousin's eyes as you take them for every dollar that they're worth. That's harsh. That's dark. Why? Why does it need to be like that? It doesn't. And in fact, in high school, without knowing what I know today, without being who I am, sitting in front of you, I and my friends realized very early on that Monopoly had to go as is. That it should not be us versus each other. Why do I have a beef with Chase, my friend of 10, 15 years? Why do I have a beef with my wife playing this game? I don't. And if they want to own Boardwalk and Park Place, as long as I've got a space of my own in Baltics, I don't care. I don't need 3/4 of the board. I don't need all the board. I only need one small place to rest my head. But the game makes you move. It makes you change places. It insists, in fact, the world of Monopoly is wild, right? Because it insists, for some wild reason, that you are a real estate tycoon who is always traveling. You have your properties, but you're almost always everywhere else. You never get to stay anywhere. You never get to be home. Monopoly burns away at this concept of home and a place of belonging in a way that most people would never believe. It insists that not only sometimes do you have to move cross country, right? But sometimes you have to keep moving because you rolled sixes? You rolled doubles for some reason? And sometimes, because you are forced to keep moving, you end up in jail for doing nothing. But yes, the other players, those are your problem, not the game itself. Here is what I posit to you, dear viewer, that the game of Monopoly is begging you to fight it. And this is what I learned as a teenager. We developed a system in Monopoly that allows you to rob the bank. The bank has more than enough money. Why does it need to keep all that? It costs me just to live. Monopoly's not real life. Maybe it's somewhat close to real life, but we've talked about how parts of it don't make any sense. And some would say that real life doesn't make any sense, and there is validity to that. But what you need to think about is, one, why anyone keeps or plays this game that Hasbro has been re-releasing for years and years and years. That board game companies, I should say, I'm not 100% sure that it's Hasbro. I'll own that. I know it used to be, I think, Parker Brothers, have been releasing for decades. And people keep buying it. They created Monopoly Junior in case the sadness had a lower level limit for your children. In case your children weren't too young to learn how soul-crushing this game is. What? Why? Why is that a thing? Yeah. So here's what I want from you. The next time you're playing Monopoly, I need you to gather the other players. Take some of your hard-earned cash and put it together. Maybe in the community chest. It's up to you. And you can devise rules for robbing the bank. You can work together on it. The more money you put in, the more likely your roll succeeds, right? If you put up so much money, a 7 or greater on the dice succeeds. If you put up X amount of more money, it's a 4 or greater. If you put up less, maybe it's 10. Or maybe you need a perfect 12. You got to pull off the perfect heist. All of a sudden, Monopoly turns from this soul-crushing game into a game where you get to take back the world that has been taken from you. A game where you have more power and you just might have a chance when everything is out. Then again, you may end up in jail. At least at this time, if you try to rob the bank, there's at least a reason for you to go to jail. It's not just that you traveled. Ooh, traveling. That's big scary. So if I want you to take away anything from this, dear viewer, from today, from this sports segment, the thing I need you to take away from this is the next time someone says, "Oh, let's play Monopoly," just have a bonfire instead. Just literally anything else instead. Just don't do it. Or take all of that Monopoly money and play a game of poker or something, I guess. I don't know, right? At least poker can teach some social skills and some math skills more than Monopoly does. There are so many better games out there. This has been Sports with Tony. A more sobering sports than what you're probably used to, but, well, the Top Hat Man is coming for you. So I just want to be there to help you out. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Well then, thank you for that, Tony. I will say, I enjoy the game of Monopoly. So after this, who wants to play Monopoly? That was meant to be a nice comical break from us talking about heavy stuff. Thank you so much for that, Tony. Yeah. Also, welcome back, Blood.
Hi, Blood.
Oh.
How you
No,
doing?
we're gonna write you up for tardy. But
That's
it's okay.
fair.
Do you have
No,
another
that's
segment of
valid.
Sports
I
with Tony
am.
that you want to do?
Huh?
Do you have your own segment of Sports with Tony you want to do real quick, Blood?
No. You already covered TikTok, which was kind of the thing I was coming in here with.
Fair. Very fair. Very
I mean,
fair.
you missed out, so
Never
if
fair.
you've got something to add to that conversation, you absolutely can.
I mean, the parts that I heard from y'all mostly covered my grievances. On top of the fact that, god fucking damn it, I need my brainless scrolling, and I'm not going to Meta.
Go to YouTube Shorts. It works.
It does, kind of, sort of, yeah.
YouTube Shorts are freaking clips from medical shows and like fire department
Yeah.
shows. Like that's what I get.
First of all,
They don't
Chicago
they don't have the
Fire
same vibe.
and Chicago Med are both really great shows.
No, they
They're
are
good
both
shows.
very, very, very good shows.
But they're not what I'm wanting.
They're not random artists talking about their complaints against how 2D versus drawing with hand or on that, or random snippets of frogs doing dances that were popular back in the 1930s.
I get friggin' Legends of
But
Vantage
Pretty
animatics
Ladies
that are
giving me
absolutely
pretty
unhinged.
I missed my third strap already.
All right.
I was about
Let's,
to say Instagram Reels was good.
Let's go ahead and let Brett go over what he wanted to talk about or lead his conversation.
Yes. Recently, with preparations for the shows I'm running on AnyPod and also just in general wanting to get back into the study of it, I picked up a couple copies of the Iliad and the Odyssey. And my wife, Lovely Bright, strongly recommended, as in she pinned me down and made me order them, copies that were translated specifically by Emily Wilson, who actually had a couple controversies with the production of these. The issue was, now hear me, stop me if you've heard this before, a woman decided to learn a dead language and translate from the original Greek texts classical stories.
That is
Crazy.
frightfully awful. How
And the
dare
issue-
she?
The issue was that she didn't put any of the flowery language that men transcribers like to put onto people, like, you know, calling witches slurs for women. In her translations, apparently, through her own, they've heard them as women or girls. There's no negative connotation to these people that might have had evil, these females that might have evil or malicious intent. Which is surprising for someone who, at a very young age, would get the kid versions of these stories. And they wouldn't discuss that, you know, when you're reading the kiddier versions.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, she unserialized them. She made them much more human than them being, like, heroic tropes that they would typically be referenced with. Like a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, and it's not in these two versions, but if you know, strong men or people try to reference Hercules is unbelievably bisexual.
Like
Uh,
was Greek people
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
day and age.
most of the ancient world.
Canonically, Hercules had more children than Zeus and Poseidon combined.
And he's also the patron god of gay lovers.
Yes.
Like, people go to the Temple of Hercules, or went to the Temple of Hercules, to celebrate their gay love.
Or like Achilles, who's also very flamboyant, but he's known as this like badass champion. He was.
Which
He also had a boyfriend.
I also want to clarify, too. It was an important thing for Hercules, because he's the god of manliness. And to paraphrase from Overly Sarcastic Productions, what's manlier than two men?
Ta-da!
I feel
Well,
like
I mean, they
go
were
ahead.
just they were roommates. They were just roommates. And
Yeah,
you know,
Love that
Just
song.
one
yeah,
bed.
like they were just best friends.
Yeah.
History
Just
hates
learning
lovers.
buddies. And it had me thinking, like, with things that, like, she did a fantastic job. We've been reading these, or I have been reading these, just casually, just to kind of get back into the throw of it. And at the end of the day, it's history, and obviously it's going to be told by different people every time, but don't attack somebody for trying to show their appreciation for a work that built most Western societies today. Because they ruined your heroes, or they decriminalized people just existing.
You know, they actually wrote it accurately and like, you know, how it was meant to be read versus, you know, men having their feelings hurt.
Yeah, so I'm reading this article. It's from, it's a college article, where's the thing? Wilson's predecessors translated a description of the young women as a misogynistic slur, sluts, whores, or creatures, to name a few. Some would argue they were simply reproducing the sexism of the Homer era. However, according to Wilson, according to the Greek word, there is no such dehumanizing connotation. Rather, it simply refers to female ones. I don't speak or read ancient Greek, but
You
if
don't
there's
speak your
one-
native language?
I think so. I was Japanese.
You are all of the things that
Oh,
makes
good.
it convenient
You
for the joke.
predate language and nationality, so, you know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Anyhow, I can't. We're gonna have to dissect that jab after the show.
Well, it's because... So, the reason why the default person is a cis white man is because it's Brett.
Straight
Are you saying-
white man.
I'm the Adam of white men. Sort of like Kyle.
I feel like Brett is generic enough.
It's not as common as Kyle though,
Yeah.
or
Right,
John.
That's fairly true.
Oh no. Brett's gone quiet.
Have I?
Your face is frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back now.
Oh. Anyway, going back to the article, if I may.
Ooh,
There was
staying
certainly
on
misogyny.
track.
Sir, ma'am, please. There was certain misogyny in Homer's time, but this specific type of sexual shaming is an imported type of sexism. So, obviously, like, we didn't live back then, despite how old apparently I look or whatever. But if do any research in Greek mythology or Greek history, they may have been sexist, but they weren't calling people negative things because honestly, they were relatively enlightened, despite, you know, hygiene issues.
Actually, no, they were quite hygienic.
Fine.
Also, ancient Greece absolutely had its issues with sexism. That's
Yes.
that's why
Yeah.
Athenian women couldn't vote, but Spartan women could.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that like so actually fun controversy on that is that the almost everything we know about Spartan culture besides what has been architecturally uncovered in Sparta itself is that all of the things that we have like learned that are so horrific about Spartans is all Athenian propaganda.
Yeah.
Because they were like, they let their women run things. Can you believe that?
You have unlocked something real quick.
Oh no.
Absolutely. I live for this kind of banter of history because I don't know a whole lot about history. I am a fairy. But
a fairy.
like,
Everyone in this call is.
What?
Nothing. Okay, so. Zack Snyder is what he is. But the movie 300
Yes.
did one particular thing correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the lines spoken by the Spartans in that movie are direct historical quotes.
Interesting.
So-
Does that
Okay.
include the
Hold on,
intimate scenes as well?
Of course, one of the most famous ones, Mullen Labe, come and take them.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's like, everyone knows it. Spartans eat well, for tonight we dine in Hades. Direct line from one of the Spartans at the Battle of Thermopylae.
Mm-hmm.
Come back with your shield or on it. That was a common thing said by Spartan mothers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going right down the list because there's some great ones. This is Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
Good, then we shall have our battle in the shade. Okay, so that one. When told that there are so many Persian archers that their arrows will blot out the sun, in the movie the response is meant to be like, it's this strong, heroic thing. That misportrays it, because Spartans practiced a thing from basically birth called laconic phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
They were taught to be as sarcastic and sardonic as possible naturally. So, when told there were so many Persian arrows they would blot out the sun, the response in context would have been more along the lines of, "Oh good! We get to fight in the shade today!"
That would have definitely changed the tone of the film, I think.
There's also some really great quotes that were not included in the movie, such as there was a time that a Spartan king was visiting a neighboring city-state, and that the local king was showing off his walls. And the Spartan king said, "Oh, what lovely women's quarters!" And the local king responded, "Oh, well then where are Sparta's walls?" And he pointed at the two soldiers behind him and said, "Right there."
Nice.
A common insult in ancient times for Spartans was that they fought with extremely short swords. But that was an intentional thing, because two soldiers, having met on the road one day, one a Spartan, the Spartan was asked why, or rather, where Sparta's borders extended to, and he held out his sword, and it was like right about there.
Speaking of,
I have
Sparta-
one last one.
Go ahead. No.
Okay.
There's a story of a Spartan soldier who saw a ghost. And his immediate reaction, no hesitation, was to draw his blade and start screaming, "Hold still, that I might kill you again."
When people say that the Spartans were the Marines of like Greece, that's kind of correct.
Yes!
They would eat crayons. Let's be so real.
It's a mean thing to say about another man. Anyway,
But yeah, niche Spartan quotes. That's a hyper focus of mine.
but going a little bit back to the mythology and like the translations, doing research into one of the books I'm trying to write about Greek mythology. What do you guys think the ending of Greek mythology is? This involves Ares, which is hence the Sparta question. But what is what's the end?
Jesus.
No, Apollo
No.
likes to be called Apollo, not that.
Wow.
Odin?
Brett, you and I have talked at length of what the Odin.
Apollo got the Boulder treatment from Christianity. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Ares wins, Ares decides to battle all of the Olympians and wins, and they, begging for their lives, said, okay, you can live, but you don't get to mess with humans anymore. This is my world. Which is why there aren't any more stories of, you know, Greek children or things like that. And I looked that up, I'm like, what, how does Greek mythology end? Because you think of, like, Ragnarok's the end of, like, Norse mythology, and, like, that's kind of a big one. What about Greek? Ares just told all the other gods to go away.
Interesting.
Ares says, they're mine. I'm going to torture them. Thank you very much.
He said,
And-
Mars is not enough. I need humans too.
And now we have Trump.
I think Ares.
Are we blaming
Ares-
Ares for Trump?
Yes.
Is that what just happened?
Yep.
I mean, dumb and warmongering. Which one am I describing?
I feel a
Sons.
presence over my shoulder, and I feel a presence.
If you get attacked by Spartan ghosts tonight, Rev, I'm not helping you.
It's okay. I shall kill them again.
That's all. Like, and I'd be curious to see if she does any more, because these came out like this year.
Mm.
But I'd be curious if she'd want to learn like ancient Egyptian and like translate some of those, or like pick up some of like the Norse tales and see if there's any like mistranslations with that.
So here's the issue on that last one.
Riordan.
You can't.
There's
That's
nothing
also
to
true.
read.
Yeah, so,
Vikings did not read, confirmed by Rev.
No.
They
Everything-
wrote everything down. The
They wrote
church,
everything down.
however,
Everything got fucking
ruined
destroyed.
it. That's why Nordic pagans essentially have 3 books, and only 3 books that they can look at.
Yeah.
Christians say too, but you know we see how that goes.
The Christians normalized fan fiction to normalize their version of hell. I don't want to. Let's not get into that.
So,
here's-
it's wild. It's okay.
You
Off
touched
camera.
on one of my pet peeves. Or my little soapbox. I fucking love Nordic mythology. I hate how much we don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking love the fact that one of the very few things that we do actually know about it is early on into Christians trying to convert the Nordic people. They were like, "Oh yeah, your god dude is pretty cool. He can join ours." So for a hot minute, Jesus was part of the Nordic pantheon.
Yeah.
Well, and also the satanification of Loki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Loki used to be just a troublemaker, and suddenly he became
He was a goofy
a
little
bad
guy.
Yeah.
He's just a goofy little guy.
He's just a goofy little guy.
Also, kind of to go back to the author Brett that you were referencing. Oh no, Brett's pulled out his Norse mythology book.
Yeah.
Now.
This is the one you can get on Barnes and
We're
Noble.
doing that. Okay, hold on. You continue.
Oh no.
But Brett, I was gonna say that Emily Wilson also has a fantasy series called Inanna, the First of the Sumerians trilogy.
Ooh.
Which is an enthralling and lyrical fantasy debut and the first in an incredible new trilogy retelling of the Epic of Gilgamesh, perfect for readers of Madeline Miller's Circe and Jennifer Saint's Ariadne. Sorry if I mispronounced that. A tale brimming with warring gods, rebellious humans, and the goddess of love caught between them whose destiny has the power to transform the shape of the world. I know what Brett's buying today.
No, I like with video games, I need to finish reading a book before I buy another one. That's a rule that I'm implementing this year.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm trying to be mature and responsible and reasonable. Excuse me while I go read this book.
I'll be back. I gotta go speed read.
So first off,
that?
this is my Christian fan fiction, also known as the Divine Comedy.
The self-insert
Well,
fanfic.
that's if you're going to try and say all texts are true, but then add text while you're still figuring things out, make it make sense.
This book is over
Brett's
80.
deconstructing now.
This book is over 80 years old. Not like this book. It's been around for much longer. This physical
copy.
copy.
Yeah.
I have a copy of the Book of Mormon from the 1950s, so it's in a similar age. It's completely
But
different.
it's also Christian fan fiction if you listen to certain people.
Yeah.
But to be on topic, Greek myths and tales, gods and heroes of ancient Greece, and the Odyssey and the Iliad by Homer.
The aforementioned by Brett.
Yes. Yours might look shinier. Mine have those fun pages that look that are textured.
The rough edges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yours
Shiny colors.
texture is better than shine. Excuse me, madam.
Do
Shine,
yours
shine
have?
does.
Do yours have tails?
No, mine
I
has a
love
little.
the
Mine,
book
mine
comparing
has
what's
little
happening
flaps,
right
so
now.
you can-
My books are entirely too far away for me to join in this, but
As my books, because we
going-
share books.
Going back to the Christianizing of different mythologies, something interesting a lot of people don't think about is Saint Patrick. A lot of people he
Yes!
was not, he was fine. He actually
No!
the Celtic cross that we see, he normalized that because he thought that Christians.
Hold on! Pause! You're mistaken. What is Saint Patrick known for? What did he do?
He
Snakes.
the snakes leaving the island, the Celtic islands.
Right,
the island,
right.
the British
Ireland
Isles.
doesn't have snakes.
I'm aware.
He ran out the pagans.
Hold on. I've done research into this. He did not rat out the pagans. It happened after he died.
All right.
Hold on. Let's do this on
BRB for
Patrick.
ASMR.
No, hold on, Rev. Pause. Let's pause on this so we
Okay.
can have this
Saint
discussion
Patty?
on St. Patrick's Day. This can be the video that we have with St. Patrick's Day.
Solid. Locking it in. St. Patrick's Day
Perfect.
conversation.
The weekend of March 17th. Let's go.
you realize that you've just signed up.
For something.
Fight public opinion. Rev's fine. They don't like me. That's the issue.
They make fun of me. They tell me I'm stinky.
They tell
Blood,
they say
why-
I'm an awful
why are you
Christian right
muted?
now. I'm sorry.
Also, did you change your thing to your mask saying mute when you're muted now? Or is that always the case?
That's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Neat. Well, your
Anyway.
PNG is usually much smaller.
Yeah, if they mute in Discord, because it'll do that for mine too. If I mute in Discord.
Well, yeah, so yours has a mute symbol. But, Blood, if you could mute real quick.
Yeah.
Blood's doesn't have the mute symbol. They put on a mask that says mute.
Okay, so they just went extra fancy with their.
Let's show off for a second. Blood, could you also deafen for about 10 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
So when Blood is deafened, no headset and pulls up a switch.
Yep. And then just dissociates into the void.
Yup, I love it. So all these Blood things. Oh, thank you so much for the raid, Eludra.
Hi, Ludra.
Not a raid, just full caps. I'm gonna count it as a raid. Anyway.
Also, I did allow those terms. I hope that is all right.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
That tracks, yeah.
Considering it's a guy.
Also, what I love is on the mod end, what it says is that you permitted the term hose. Because we've already allowed bitches.
Thank you for the stretchies and the sippies.
Ah! Eludra, this is such a large group that you're here to see today.
Yes.
You have mine and Brett's beautiful faces, and Mal and Blood's beautiful voices.
Yeah. Going back to Greek, so we don't get too sidetracked.
That's what the show is.
Like, I was.
This is purely just me and Rev having an excuse to fuck around.
ADHD
I
and
understand,
his special interests.
But I don't want to do that because I want us to be able to finish our topics.
Oh, we have an ad starting
Aw.
in a minute. No, we don't.
I also thought about muting that one.
Any other comments or things you can really think about Greek mythology or like mistranslations or things that
Oh,
people...
absolutely, but I don't think that they would be prevented by our next topic.
That's also actually
Yes, yes. Sorry. Can you tell I'm excited about our next topic?
We can move on to the next topic. We can come back to this one when we have more research.
All right, so let's go in here. And let's bring blood into this one. Let's make Mal not float. All right. We have the entire completed Epic the Musical with animatics here. That we're not going to review the entire thing because, as amazing as that would be, it's 2.5 hours long without us talking about it. Maybe we'll do that on Patreon. That could be fun. So, I'm going to skip straight to Full Speed Ahead, because I think that's one of the strongest early songs.
The amount of times I've wanted to, like, force you into a call and just, like,
We might do that after all this. That might
Yeah, that might just be today's thing.
I would feel bad. I would feel bad.
So,
Pulled you into watching an anime with me because I
That
thought it
is
would be
true.
fun.
I still want to finish that anime.
we watched some free run today.
So this one sets up the journey home and what his motivation is. It's the third song in. So the first one roughly covers the war and some of the stuff that he has to do. The second one is the horse and how they win, and then this is them going home and their challenges.
More complexities of is it right to do what I did is most of the second song.
Yeah.
The complexity of is it God's will or my own is
Mhm.
very heavily influenced here.
So, a lot of the early songs also do a lot of work to show how intelligent and specifically how strategic and wise Odysseus is. So this line right here of "Watch where the birds fly, we'll see where they land," is one, a classically referenced thing. You have it in the Odyssey. You have it in the Bible with Noah and the Ark. It is anywhere there are people lost at sea in ancient stories, they're following birds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they get onto those kelp islands, they just sit and like, well,
Or
You know.
or the Pacific Trash Island.
yeah. Well, I don't think that was during Odysseus' time.
Oh, so that's modern humans' fault. Damn it.
Probably the closest thing they had to that was sea serpents, which were just whales taking themselves out.
On the back end, one of the really cool things that goes through this whole saga or collection of sagas is that all of the characters have their own musical styles and associated instruments and melodies. And it follows through the whole thing, but also because Odysseus as a character is constantly learning from the people that he encounters, you hear those other instruments and melodies and musical styles being combined into his. There's an interaction that he has with Poseidon about a third of the way in, where you get a really cool song, which is Ruthlessness. And Poseidon has a really strong melody that comes in through that. That melody is then echoed in Odysseus' argument back to him at the 2/3 mark, when Odysseus is compelling him to try and forgive.
And I mean, to get, like, even, like, not even spoiler in a way, but, like, when he's battling and, like, reviewing, like, there are certain motifs that are brought up when he sings, reflecting on things that he's done, and, you know, when we fought with Circe, you were quick to hatch a plan in the back. You can hear Circe's motif, and, you know, talking about the torches, and this is in the in the Thunder Saga. You know, they reference all of the motifs that they we're going on about. And in Ruthlessness, you can hear Polyphemus's theme in the background because of the reference to the Cyclops that he blinded, like in Poseidon's son. And it's just so cool to see. And the amazing thing too is that Jorge, who is the author and creator of Epic the Musical, he puts so much thought and effort into these things, and he is so excited to share every little thing, and I just eat that shit up. I'm like, oh, it's so good. Like one thing that he referenced recently in reference to the Ithaca saga, which is the last saga of this, and I know I'm skipping ahead.
No, you're good.
I guess you could say I'm full speed. But when he's singing Would You Fall in Love With Me, and he says, I am not the man you knew, at the very bottom of all of the audios that he layers in this song is Tiresias's motif. And Tiresias is the prophet that they visit in the underworld, who says, but you're no longer you. Like, there is no future I can see where you get home. And it just proves that at the very end of it all, he disproved Tiresias's prophecy. Which is just so. Now we have a minute and a half ad.
Yeah, whenever you pause an ad, it comes back 5 minutes later.
I have, if we're in the first.
Yeah, if you have a song you wanna bring up, I can go to it.
We're in the Troy saga, which is the first saga.
Sure.
And it breaks down what goes on in like each one of the sagas, and he talks about like the difference between Eurylochus versus Polites. Because you start with full speed ahead. Yeah, Eurylochus and Polites are the only two. Oh, what's the ad back?
What's the
No,
anyway?
I mean, the ad only affects live viewers. Everyone else can see what we're talking about.
That's fair.
Subscribe.
Woo! Watch us without ads.
Maybe, no, don't give us stuff.
The ads give us money, unfortunately.
But the subs also give us money.
Yeah, but not if we are the one gifting the sub. Real unfortunate
What?
circle there.
We are back from the ad.
Because we just listened to Full Speed Ahead, in this, another article that I found is actually from My Speed Comic. Someone actually went through and kind of compared the two. The only two, a few of the only name of Odysseus' crew is Eurylochus and Polites.
Yeah.
And Polites is described as Odysseus' favorite kinsman. And Eurylochus is suspicious and a very critical person. And something that is not really mentioned in Epic the Musical, if they're on Odysseus' personal ship, that means they're all his captains or like his most trusted, loyal people.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I love Polites, and the song that he's in is open. It's called Open Arms, and it's about acceptance and embracing the world because yes, we've been at war for 10 years, but you don't have to hate everything for it.
Which that is now going to be playing in the background while we continue to talk.
And yeah, I've never been to war, but to have that sort of mentality after all of the terrible things that they certainly had to have done to survive the war,
Mm-hmm.
that shows the level of like character and willpower that Polites had.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why spoilers for a play that's older than most countries.
Older than Jesus.
Yeah. Older than our calendar, older than, a lot of things. Older than the English language.
I mean, what isn't?
Polites dies.
What?
Terribly. Brutally, somewhat even.
You know what? Because you've spoiled that for me, I'm going to spoil this. They all die.
Ha! Joke's on you. Odysseus, no.
Odysseus on the show today.
I will say, as like a little interruption though, I love that in the animatic we're watching right now, they so lean into the Polites being like a low-key twink.
Yes.
So hard.
Like that's fine representation, but I feel like it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be, but it's definitely something that even Jorge has like wink wonk.
Wink wonk for that twink twonk.
Also, a lot of the story of the Epic the Musical is completely told out of order in Epic the Music. Like, honestly, it's very different. It's referencing, in this article, Athena doesn't even appear to Odysseus at this point. She appears, reaches the land.
Yeah, that was the very next song. Moving on. Warrior of the Mind. This is the first in the show appearance of Athena. And it is really cool. Because it is her addressing him like in this moment, but it also flashes back to how they met within the realm of this story.
Athena did appear early on in the Odyssey, but specifically to Telemachus as a mentor.
Which that is also told later. I can see why, for the sake of this, it's been split to the closer to the end of the show. But yeah, chronologically, it would have been much earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be referenced too because we don't see. I mean, the whole like beginning part of Epic Musical is Odysseus wants to get home to his son and his wife, and he misses his son and his wife and his son and his wife, and oh my gosh, I'd do fucking anything to go see them again.
Yeah.
And he literally does that for the entirety of the musical. But I do like how it shows the hesitation in the beginning of what it takes, like what it
One of the
to do anything.
Yeah, one of the things that happens with his character is in the beginning it's, we're all going to get to go home to see our families because I have to see my son and my wife. And every time they come up to a challenge, a little piece of Odysseus dies with his men. Until you get to, spoilers, they all die in the end, until you get to a moment where he's confronted by Zeus, and Zeus tells him, you have to make a decision right now. Either you die or your entire crew dies. And within the context of this story as it's presented here, immediately before this, Odysseus was betrayed by his crew. Because they had felt betrayed by him. So in this moment, we the viewers are like, yeah, fuck them. They screwed you over. But you can hear in his voice that his heart is breaking. You can see it in his crew's eyes and the way that they're behaving, that they know what he's about to decide, and they can't really fault him for it. But the way it's acted and the way it's voiced, you can tell they're all like on the edge of tears and like having to accept their deaths in this moment, because every part of Odysseus at this point has died except for that drive to get home.
Yes. And it's just, he portrayed it so beautifully, and like truly like props to the cast and crew of Epic Musical for being so in tune with not only their characters but with their own emotions to be able to portray that in their characters.
I'm going to bring up the song that I'm talking about and just let that play for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is in the Thunder Saga.
Yeah.
I'm getting
And they use Neil's illustration too, which is honestly okay. So Neil did a phenomenal job at portraying the scene. It's actually, he is one of my favorite animators for this, for these songs.
Yeah.
Because he just did such an amazing job. First of all, Zeus. I like just to pull that up real quick. Zeus being Zeus, he did such a great job making
Luke
him.
Holt did a fantastic job.
Yes,
Sorry,
you guys did an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just apologize. I upped the quality, so it's going to take a second to load.
Oh, you're fine.
The article that we're looking at, it isn't updated yet. They're only at the Cersei saga, so we don't even have the Thunderbringer sagas for compare and contrast.
Oh, interesting. They might have just stopped because the Cersei saga came out like way early last year.
This page came out on January 10th, the latest one they did. So they're still working on it, like this year.
Of 2025?
Yeah.
Ah.
They probably waited to do it so that the way they could kind of compare the entire thing and make references to all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in Neil's representation of this song of Thunderbringer, I mean, and it happens towards the end of the song is what we're all talking about. But it's just something that like he evokes. Like my favorite thing is because Eurylochus has fucked up every single step of the way. Like there's no really going around it.
Yeah.
He mutinied against his captain. He wanted to abandon his crew when they got to Cersei's island because he's like, they're a lost cause, fuck these guys. Like, I just want to get home. Like, fully selfishly saving his own skin every step of the way. And blaming it on the death and grieving of Polites, which to a certain extent can be explained, but also, like, there is a certain acceptance of you need to own up for your own actions and work through that on your own. But in the animation that Neil does, Eurylochus stands back because he understands why Odysseus is cracking in this moment.
Yeah.
Because he knows the heartbreak that he's already caused. He is fully accepting his fate of, you know what, I really did do this to myself, and I can't blame him for choosing his life.
Here's something interesting also. I don't mean to cut you off, Gabe, I'm sorry. But Eurylochus was Odysseus' brother-in-law.
Mm.
Yes.
He married Odysseus' younger sister, who I'm not going to try to say their name because it's Ctimene. It's a name. And during the mutiny song, he says, if you want all power, you must carry all the blame, as if trying to shove all of the things that Eurylochus has done on Odysseus as his fault. Eurylochus is the one that opened the wind back. Eurylochus is the one that got them into a lot of the situations that they're in because he didn't trust his brother's instincts or even his heritage. Odysseus is technically like an 8th or like a 16th demigod.
Yeah, he is one of the demigod heroes.
Yeah.
Real quick, I also have to say, visually, this is my favorite representation of Zeus.
Yes. Agreed.
Not just in this, but period.
Yeah.
My second favorite versus that one would probably be from the Hades games.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Cloudbeard's very cliche, but it makes sense. But he's also the youngest of all the gods, so making him not look as rugged or old like they prescribe for Poseidon, I also really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I will also say that just like the art style in general, I love that they made
Real quick,
people
this moment.
Yes, this
We'll
is what I was
want
thinking of.
to hear this. That moment of like Eurylochus accepting it, but still in his own way being heartbroken of it, and Odysseus just shattering.
Yeah.
There is nothing left in him except that he has to get home.
Yep. And the way that it's portrayed where Eurylochus doesn't even fight it. Like, he literally just stands there, like, fully with the weight of everything that's happened. And he looks sad as all of the men go to Odysseus, and he just makes that direct eye contact. And you can see the physical change in Odysseus's face from, I'm sorry, to, I'm doing this because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so... it's just so visceral.
It might be a little silly, but anytime I do like this scene, I always think of like Eurylochus like acting like he's like 6 years old again, because throughout the entire thing, and this has been said several times on the internet and on TikTok, rest in peace. Odysseus had to gentle parent these soldiers, these 6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and, like,
he really did.
At this point, I feel like Eurylochus is going like, Captain, are you sure? Like, dude, you did this to yourself. This is your fault.
Like, in the song before, in Mutiny, like, when they have tied up Odysseus to the ship and they are on the island of the immortal cows, and he's like, this is the home of the sun god. He's like, I'm starving. Like, I just imagine like a toddler being like, but I want a snack now. I'm not gonna survive till dinner, mommy. No.
Also, something we discovered last night, and I'll do this off camera later. I can do Zeus's voice from this.
Ooh.
Bet.
The prophet's right in my range, so it's not too terrible for me. So, but that's awesome.
Specifically, I referenced the moment in God Games where he lists the gods, and I was like, "Oh wait, that's actually really close."
Yeah.
I love that for you. That is honestly, I would love to do. We need to, whenever we all can get together, we need to do fucking karaoke. We need to karaoke our part, bro.
I'm actually,
Let's do it.
I'm in the process of setting up a Fiverr for VO work.
Nice.
Yay! That'll be so good. Another good place to do voiceover work, Casting Call Club. I can send you the link for it. That's one that a lot of voice actors kind of get their starts on as well. They have voice acting classes and things like that. I know Brett and I wanted to do that a couple of years ago, which I would love to get back into.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We got a few other things we need to work on first, methinks.
Yeah, I mean,
So this is a song coming up that we all thought Blood would appreciate.
yeah.
And just Wolf in general, but also the musicality. I can't push enough how beautiful and amazing all of this is from start to finish. There is one song, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but one of them really reads to me as a direct... Oh, it's Cersei's Island. When they're on Cersei's Island, it feels like Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote it.
Yes.
Are you talking about
Let's move home. Like the very
yeah.
Well, it's also, it feels referential to this the song where Alexander Hamilton cheats on his wife. Like, it is...
Oh, how do I
it is,
remember this?
yeah, lyrically and melodically very similar. And so, like, in my head, I was like, was Jorge just watching Hamilton while working on part of this? I was like, ooh, yeah.
I will say this: if you like Hamilton, you have not watched Epic or listened to Epic, go listen to Epic.
Yeah.
There is
Hamilton
actually
walked, so
a...
Epic could run.
No, 100%. But I will say that there is a clip of Jorge actually like live singing on a stage, where he's in like a musical of some kind, where he is a surgeon and he is rapping and he sounds exactly like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I love it.
Almost like you would think that it's like a younger version of Lin when you watch this, and I'm like, no, that's definitely Jorge, but it's also Lin? What? I'm like, I'll have to find the clip, but it's so funny to me watching that, and I'm like, oh, it's like just copy and pasted by accident. What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit down with you sometime and discuss my plans for my Greek mythology book, my series that I want to write.
Absolutely. Actually, on that note, we should probably get you in here to talk about your book whenever it's coming time for publishing.
Yes, for sure.
We'll have an exclusive with you.
Yes. I'll also probably be sending each one of you a signed copy because I have no chill.
Ooh. Add it to the collection of books I don't read. Nothing against you, I just don't read.
No, I completely understand, and I only cry myself to sleep about it every other day that ends with Y.
No, seriously, that would be amazing, and absolutely would. Back on topic.
I don't have anyone for the cover of my book, for my book yet, Aludra. I haven't thought about that.
I just realized the video I sent you is a TikTok link. It's a browser TikTok link, Rev.
Unfortunate.
That's okay.
I mean,
got that.
It still works. I was about to say, the browser still works. It's just, I didn't realize that. I'm like, this doesn't look like YouTube.
I would say that for one of my main characters in my book, if I could get them to be a voice act, Jorge would, the person who ran this, would be I could see fit 3 different characters in my book. One
Yeah.
of them being the cleric Bibbo. I think that he would have a very cute way of playing
Oh my
Bibbo.
gosh, he'd have so much fun.
I love him being Bibbo.
That or Andrew Garfield. Those are like my 2 main ones that I think would be a lot of fun.
You think he could play Andrew Garfield?
No, him or Andrew Garfield.
I know Andrew Garfield can play Andrew Garfield. That's not in question.
You're an asshole, you know that.
Right, bastard. Actually, kind of talking about like fun facts. I think I've mentioned it mostly to Brett, but because obviously I live with the guy.
Hi.
He's stuck with me forever. But the voice actress who plays Aphrodite in God Games, I actually went to high school with her. Like she was in my
Nice!
graduating class.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like if I don't know if I still have my senior yearbook or any of my yearbooks from high school, but like, yeah, I was in multiple different classes with her. She was the class president at our high school. She was in theater, or no, she was in choir, and she was known for her debate skills. Like she went to Harvard for law, and then after graduating, she basically didn't. I don't know if she actually took the bar or not, but she did end up quitting and became a musician. And yeah, she does a lot of Greek myth related songs. Like one of her most recent songs is about how like being in a relationship, like in a toxic relationship, was similar to being in the Trojan War. So
Speaking of Aphrodite, here she is.
Yep. So yeah, shout out to you, Johnny. Miss you, girl.
Another thing about God Games, as where it's one being played right now, can I say the ending of the song is the most, like, Zeus pulls the most "I'm the youngest spoiled child and I don't like it when things
Yes.
get my way" attitude of
That's
all
pretty
time.
much all of Greek mythology.
Yes.
That's
No,
basically
I
just
understand
Zeus.
that. But he gets
That's
like,
sucks.
you dare to define me like, dude, you're like, no, you're at least 25. Stop acting like you're 3.
With respect, that is Zeus.
Yes, no, 100%. With the respect I can muster in this tiny little cloak body of mine. Grow up, you tiny pricked dillweed.
I may be running the stream, but I have no control over what's said.
Yep.
Listen, I already got Thor mad at me and Odin mad at me. What's one more Thunderbringer? It's fine.
I'm scared for my future. That's what I'm gonna say.
So, next week, when we find out that Brett and Mal's house has been exploded by a lightning bolt.
Anyhow.
So,
Also, best version of Hermes and Hera ever depicted.
yes.
Anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. So, there's a laugh that Hermes does a few times in this. That, yes, it is. You cut out for it. Like, I heard the beginning. It's going to be hard to capture on Discord, because Discord will just cut it off.
Yeah, for real.
You got most of it there.
Cut it off, but you
It is
got
this beautiful surfer laugh.
Yes. Yes.
And I love it.
Every time.
It'll actually come up in the next song.
Yes. No,
Yes,
the
it
one
will.
after this one.
Or no.
You're right.
I'm
The
sorry
one
for
after.
telling you.
And then that one.
Yeah, it's in Dangerous. Which Dangerous, honestly, of the Vengeance Saga, I think Dangerous is by far one of my favorite songs.
I was
Just
telling
because
Skylar
the
that-
beat's so Bob.
I was telling Skylar that the animator of the bit we just saw right before this, I would watch an anime entirely done by that person.
Oh no, 100%.
Yes.
All the people that they got their animations like for
I'm going to skip ahead back to that person.
such a great job. Like, I think I've said, I don't think I've said this on this show, but like, or on stream here. But my end goal is after I get my books published, I want to hire animators and I want to do shows and things like that, whether it be on YouTube or have my own multimedia company, because it's there's so many people that have so much potential and so many great skills, and like a lot of the time they're overworked and underpaid, and that upsets me as someone who has tried for years to get into animation of all things.
Yeah.
Art in general.
All right. Next song is good, but we're talking about Hermes, so let's go to Dangerous.
Oh, also Calypso, the character, the actress did a fantastic
I
job.
actually know of this series.
She is one of the most toxic characters ever depicted in media.
She is okay. So the thing with
But-
Calypso is there's an incredible amount of nuance in
Yeah.
her story, especially in reference to Epic the musical.
Sure.
Which, you know, like, because first of all, Calypso is not actually a goddess; she's a titan in the mythos.
Yeah.
So that does make it very different. And she was banished to this island as a child, so she grew up here. So for over 100 years, she has literally been alone. Like when the song references it correctly, where, you know, she, you know, like only had the sky and sea as her friends, and like when she plays with the crabs and stuff like that, it's like she's just like, these are my friends.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you know, yes, go for it.
that laugh.
Yeah.
That's also someone I'm in a similar range with, but that's beside the point. Troy is a fantastic man. I wish him the best. He does great work.
He posted a beautiful video yesterday, ending TikTok, where he referenced this song, and it was lovely.
My favorite thing about Troy, just to get on a little Troy fan box there, the fact that he has a very specific outfit that if he shows up on camera in this outfit, everyone's
It's
like,
Hermes.
"Oh, there's Hermes."
Yeah.
Yep. And it's so bad. Like, he even references it within his own work. Like, he does like these promotion videos for a lot of his songs. Like, one of them is like Sagittarius. He's doing a Zodiac series of singles that he's putting out.
Yeah.
And they're so funny because there's one where he's like on the phone and he's like singing this song, and then Hermes comes in, interjects, and he's like, and it's just like, wait, darling, where are you going? It's so funny to me.
Have you seen the series that he and a few of the other voice actors from Epic were doing? So, him, Ares, Zeus. Yeah.
Those are all hysterical.
See, yeah, those ones are hilarious.
Zeus. Or like they're like Hermes and Zeus doing things together, and Ares tries to join. And they're like, dude, why?
Yes.
This scene, just the dance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And twerking is amazing.
There it is.
It is the most like, and Hermes has always been he's kind of the Loki of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Where he's there to vibe and have a good time, and he'll be serious when he needs to. But most of the time, I think he really likes mortals, and that's one of the difference between him and like other deities. He understands.
Well, I mean,
God.
that follows with his children, too. Asclepius, a god of healing, who, like, rewound death.
I looked it up. That was Apollo's son. I looked that up. Apollo's son was the god of
Was that... Did I get that confused?
I think I did, and I gave you bad information.
Well, you know, that's all you do.
Yeah.
Okay, but hear me out. Fan theory: it's Hermes and Apollo's kid. There you go. Fixed it for you.
That does track with Apollo. Also, I find it very
Hermes.
funny that they made Apollo very, very, very flamboyant, because out of, I think, like the 6 suitors that Apollo has, 4 of them are men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot of Apollo's romantic interests were men, even more so than just like the main 6.
Oh, 100%. And 6 might be a bad number. That's just what
You're
I can do.
pretty. I like ya.
Yeah.
You make pretty sounds. I love ya.
Yeah.
Apollo is a pan icon, and we love them for it.
Content warning for those bothered by it. Charybdis is on screen.
I don't like Charybdis. But I also fucking love the song though, because
Oh, yeah, no.
this song,
Such a
this
good song.
song is like like when you're pulling yourself out of a depression, this is the song you listen to, like 100%.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like this song, I cried because I was like, it's like me getting on
Ooh.
medication.
The next one goes so fucking hard, though.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Listen, I will say that the last like 20 seconds of that song, just like I listened to that on repeat, and and Brett would be like, "Why do you do this to me?" And I'm like, "Because the ears demand it.
Yes.
The vibrations are correct."
Also, I love the anime speed lines right here.
Yes.
Yes.
All power to it, and major respect for the content creator for this. He did a fantastic job putting a lot of emphasis and getting people back into pieces of history and literature that are greatly overlooked because people just copy the stories and make them more modern.
Did you guys see that Jorge is actually in Ithaca right now?
Yes.
Not anymore, but he was for the Ithaca release.
Yeah, and he was releasing like videos of him going to places related to it.
Yes.
And so this moment, I just yesterday saw a video of him like in a kayak out in the sea, and singing the "There's the shore, there's the land I've been trying to get to."
Yep. There's one where he's in Odysseus's, like, the ruins of Odysseus's castle, and
Yeah.
he's just like, "I'm home," and then his mom is, like, behind a wall singing "Waiting," and then he's just like,
Oh.
like, that one broke me, and I was like, "Oh, no!" And then I think his dad tackled his mom and was just like, "I'm taking her," and then he's like, "No, Mom!"
I love it.
He was like, "Hephaestus, no!" Oh yeah, for those who don't know, his family is fully ingrained in this. His mother actually plays Odysseus's mom when they are in the Underworld saga. His father voices Hephaestus in God Games. His sister, one of his sisters, is the princess of the Winans from the Wind Island. I think his brother is. I can't remember what his brother does. I think he might do some of the music specifically, like the instrumentals and stuff. But his family is like fully ingrained and fully supported him through all of this. And I will say that Jorge is a rat bastard for having the Underworld saga come out on Mother's Day and then have his mom voice Odysseus's mom in that bit, because that shit made me cry. It made me cry so hard. I was just like, no, you can't just say shit like that and just get away with it.
Yeah, and speaking of things that's like, oh no, that made us feel emotions, which, you know, we're not very common to here in America. We're just all hyped up on Coca-Cola and cheeseburgers. But
Also,
so
a sword would not float like that. I want to put that out there as I delay watch this.
It's
from stream.
so good though.
It really is.
I mean, also, Poseidon could have lifted the sword up to give him a fighting chance. Like, Poseidon, it's his home. Poseidon can change the
You
buoyancy.
right.
of-
So there is that common trope of like a final showdown where one person vastly outpowers the other, but they throw him a gun or something because they're like, "Come on, give me a fucking reason. Pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick it up."
Yeah,
Yes.
like from the Puss in Boots 2 movie with Death, the kicking him back to Rapier. Pick it up. Also, that movie is fantastic. Like, that Puss in Boots 2
I
kills
haven't seen it yet, but I have
everybody.
heard that's one of the best representation of death ever. Is
Yeah.
like what I've heard.
It's mind-boggling. It's so good.
It makes me uncomfortable, but I want to watch it because I need to see it, but like, it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like,
Oh.
I'm actually scared of this character.
Real quick, earlier I was talking about Odysseus's lines growing and morphing and containing some of the melodies and instruments of the previous things. This moment right here that I'm about to play, Odysseus is pleading to Poseidon to forgive, and in it, there is the exact same music and melody from Ruthlessness, where he first encounters Poseidon, and Poseidon in that declares his rage, and the theme in that is being ruthless to others is being merciful to yourself. In other words, if you take them out, they can't hurt you. So here's that in this song. Right here. Listen to the undertones. ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves.
Yeah. And it's just so beautiful too, because one thing that Jorge has said himself is that the reason why it's so powerful, and he's playing it with the trumpets, which is one of Poseidon's things, one of Poseidon's motifs, instruments, and singing it that way, like, just emphasizes the fact that it doesn't match, it doesn't work, because Poseidon moralistically and like theologically could not do something like that, because it is against his nature as a god to do such a thing.
Well, as a god of the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this part of this story also is a very clear indicator of do not give things that are not humans humanic symptoms.
Yeah.
Gods would not feel sympathy because they're not made with sympathy. They're not made with things like compassion or things like that. They're ideas.
The thing too is that, like, because there's a dichotomy, right, between gods are gods and that's what they will always be, versus like a lot of the things, and and this is why we call them myths and mythos, right, is because there's only so much that we can validate between the two of these things. As someone who does like believe in the Greek pantheon and like is actively, working on worshiping and working with these deities, like there is a line between their stories peaked in ancient times where we can't necessarily say what is or isn't true, and how back in the days that these things happened, the reason why we have so many stories of like demi-humans and things like that is because how else would you explain that? And be like, oh, you know what, this is just a son, like, oh, I didn't cheat on my husband, I had sex with a god, and you know what, it just happened that way. And you know what, and you know what, this illegitimate child is actually from Zeus himself, and that's why this happens. And that can be seen across a multitude of different pantheons, but like the Greeks specifically, because there are so many rumored children of deities and such like that, like there is a specific thing. I've never seen this animatic of 600 Strike, and I love that outfit. Yeah,
this is straight up an anime fight.
Yes, like, and this is exactly what Jorge said. He's like, the Vengeance and Ithaca Saga are anime, as anime as this musical will ever get.
I'm going to go ahead and stop this one here. There was a trigger warning, and I appreciate the animator for doing that, but we're going to go ahead and move past it. In that moment, Odysseus has beaten Poseidon, but is locked away from home. So he encourages Poseidon to get him home.
Yes.
Via trident.
One thing, and also one thing that was also said about like the animations and stuff, a lot of them show the gods bleeding red blood, which is incorrect, because the Greek gods bleed ichor, which is a golden substance, because I believe it's because they take part of the drink of ambrosia, which is what keeps them immortal. But one of the main reasons why Jorge stylistically said let's do red for the blood instead of gold for the ichor is so that way you're not having gold blood on a golden trident and like just confusing the audience.
Which from an artistic standpoint, I can understand that decision, but my gut then is to change the trident, because a golden trident is the classic image of it. So why not change that up? Some of my best representations, or my favorite rather, are like a wooden handle, like a spear with a whalebone tip.
True. I was also thinking, silver or like iron would also be a good representation, because it blends in with the water and it matches like the stylistic colorizations of most like water-based beings. But I can also see how it can get lost in a translation of that, because you wouldn't be able to keep track of it.
Another thing you could do is also make it a copper color.
Yeah.
Or like bronze, because Bronze Age.
Yeah, that's true.
And like
either way, it could glow.
Articles and things, and like have a little bit like that greenish tint that happens with that, like.
This moment, the test that that Penelope proposes. There's a really cool video by Corridor, where they actually recreated this physically, not with CG, because that's their whole thing. They actually set up an archery challenge at their studio to see who could shoot through 12 axe heads.
Was anyone able to do so?
2 or 3 of them were.
Yeah.
I always seen people complain like they weren't able to figure out how to like retie the bow, even if like Odysseus is unbelievably strong. Actually, in that arc we're looking at, he is supernaturally strong, not Hercules strong, but much more so. Also, he doesn't give the Cyclops his name out of pity like last time. He enjoyed hurting the Cyclops in the original story, and he said, "My name's Odysseus, and you're gonna remember it." Basically, Odysseus was not a very good person.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, he did, like, one thing is, on Calypso's Island, he did father 2 children with her. In this story, it was against his will, but in other stories, like, he did cheat on her with Circe and with Circe and with Calypso. He did cheat on Penelope. And also, in other mythos, after this, I believe after Odysseus dies, Penelope does end up getting married to and connecting with one of the children of Calypso and Odysseus. So with Telemachus' half brother, she ends up marrying and having a relationship with, and it's like, oof.
And that brother's name is Oedipus. No.
There's something to be said about whether or not, like, every different version of the Odyssey is going to say whether or not he consented to either relationship. But given the circumstances, adultery is a bad thing. Period. Whether you want to get spiritual about it or not. But what are you willing to do to get yourself home, or what are you willing to do so you don't upset something that is far more powerful?
And there is also, he wanted to get home, and like that was his ultimate motivation, but after 15 years and everything you've gone through, at some point a part of you is like, okay, this might just be my life from now on. I might as well be happy as much as I can here.
He had no idea he was going to be sent home after Calypso. Like, there was no indication for 10 years, basically.
Yeah,
so,
because he was stuck on that island for, at least in this canon, 7 years. Like, after 7, I mean, Brett and I have been married for 6 years, and we've known each other for 7 years. I'm spending the rest of my life with this motherfucker. But, you know, but, like, it's something that would, like, fundamentally change if we were, or I don't think it would fundamentally change, personally. But that's also the optimism of going in at the before.
Right. Well, also, like you said, Calypso was a titan. Even if he didn't want to have the children, I'm 100% sure she could make him have children with her.
I will now say
well, and that's...
that this is all we have time for.
Oh, no, we got 10 minutes.
We can't leave on this.
We have less than 1 minute.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go for an hour 50?
No, we started late.
Yeah, we go until about 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, go watch Epic the Musical. It is absolutely worth it. And with everything else going on in the world, it is nice to have something this genuinely beautiful and amazing to experience. We didn't get to some of the other stuff that I wanted to talk about with it, but that's fine. Because it's, as talked about, a 2.5 hour thing. Blood and I can talk more about this later. So we will see you guys next time.
Go support Emily Wilson. She does great work. Go support someone who has fighting controversies over who she is in person. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Tune in this Wednesday night for the next episode of our Wild West campaign, where we will probably all die in a fight with some machines. And then after that, Thursday, we've got the second episode of Thirsty Gay Thursday playing Borderlands. And then we've always got amazing stuff happening on the Wonderarium on every other Saturday. And then in 7 days, you will see us right here on Spawn Camp. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.